We're on first podcast. Um,
This is how Rogan started.
this is how Rogan started. Just three guys in a room, just talking about whatever the hell they wanted to talk about.
Well, tell what. So what is DealGen? What do we do? Tell everybody.
DealGen Partners. DealGen Partners is we provide turnkey deal origination, which means a buyer who's looking to buy businesses, ideally. Whether it's a private equity fund that just raised a fund and they want to go out and purchase companies that are for sale, whether it's a strategic buyer that a large strategic that's looking to grow through acquisition. Our company, DealGen Partners, gets hired to accelerate that process immensely by providing deals that are ready to close to those partners. So we do it at scale. We build out a pretty proprietary system that allows us to get in contact with a number of different companies and intermediaries who are representing or putting their own company on the market, and we facilitate that transaction by introducing them to the right
So we've seen and chased a ton of opportunity over our business careers.
buyer.
Too many, of
Too
course.
many.
And we're really focused on this, right? We know that this was why, like, what we wanted to do, and what about it did you say, hey, this is the right opportunity? Of all the things that we get presented on a daily basis from all the sources of entrepreneurs and everything we're connected with, how did this one rise to the top as I know I want to do this and we want to do this together.
Well, I think it met a couple of things. It met our desire, right? We're both ambitious people, and we have a desire to excel and do well financially. So I think that that was a big factor, is that we can
You like to
benefit.
make money?
We like to make money. We
Yeah.
can benefit from this in the long run. I think the type of clientele we're working with is huge. These are people who we want to, in the end, our end game is to probably be like them. Be in a position where we maybe have our own fund and are investing in companies and investing in across different sectors. And what better way to get introduced to how to do that than working for the type of person that's doing it. If you want to be like them, go help them get better at what they do and watch how they interact. So that was huge for me. And then I think that but it's just a fun game to play. Every single day is different. Every day we get new emails and new phone calls that are getting booked on our calendar with people who are doing all different things in all different situations that want to sell their business, or they want to go out and roll up, a number of different companies. And it's just, you never know what you're going to bump into. And I really enjoy the excitement of our day to day routine. Um, and, the amount of opportunity that gets created every week.
Yeah, I think too, like, we got good traction early, which,
Huge.
we've started things in the past, and if it doesn't pick up traction right away, it's hard to continue that. Even if you see a potential long road to, long path to profitability. But this we got an unbelievable client right away who was active in seeing deals, closing deals, spending money, and that opened the door to so much more that if we didn't get that traction early, we are playing a really patient game with the way we get paid.
Right.
Right? So, like, we're not getting paid until deals close. That could be 60 days from finding that deal. That could be 9, 10, 12 months from finding that deal.
Yep.
But the proof of this is going to work happened really early for us, which is something that, like, you can spend a lot of time chasing your tail thinking something's going to work. But when you get that early validation, we knew based on that, we could make this happen.
Right. From my experience doing stuff in the past that fits what you just said, where you get early traction, you build off that traction versus trying to organically create traction
Right.
based around something that you want to do. It's way easier to build around existing traction. Like, if you're the way, that we basically built our company is we have one client looking for one specific thing, and in looking for that specific thing, we were uncovering so many other opportunities that they weren't interested in. So we looked at each other and said, well, we need to build a business around being able to transact on those other opportunities that
Right.
one particular client doesn't want. And so, we basically just filled the buckets to the point where now, there's anywhere from 12 to 16 clients at any given time looking to transact, and there's a number of different buckets to fill. So as opportunities come down our filter, we take a look at them, we can drop them in one or anywhere, five, six, seven, 10 buckets that might be looking for that type of company. But that traction would have never been able to be built, I think, if we just like came like it would have taken a lot longer to just come up with that idea,
Right.
rather than have existing traction. Getting paid already, for doing what we do, allowed us to then go out and feel comfortable enough to build around
Yeah. I mean, we got a client before we had the business,
it. Yeah,
essentially, right? Like
yeah,
we the client gave us a business model
right,
versus us saying this is the business model. Let's go find a client. And that was just kind of a happy accident, but we knew what we wanted to do right after that. And I think another thing that's really validating of where we're going and what we have is we're getting in front of some really major players in this space who are very receptive to what we're doing in a way that indicates it's unique, and they're intrigued, genuinely
right,
interested in what we're doing and want
right,
to be part of it. And we've also had a lot of people attach themselves to us and want to attach themselves to us that have backgrounds and experiences that, not that we shouldn't be getting attached to in a great way, but their experience is a big time validator that like we're on the right path with this thing. It's
definitely,
just we need to build it the right way, and I think we're making a lot of really good decisions on not to get out over our skis with things. Like
yeah,
we're in a world where you raise money, you get the Series A, Series B, Series C, you sell it to the PE, you take some chips off the table. We're not there yet, and we're very protective of our equity and what the business is, pretty much because of our past experiences of giving that stuff away too early. And yeah, all right, I just need 100 grand to get the ball rolling, but that 100 grand in 10 years is going to be worth a hell of a lot more than it is right now.
Mhm. I think sticking with like and staying focused too, right? Like, it's easy, especially in the game that we're playing, it's easy to say, okay, should we add other um other ways to help these private equity companies? Should we, just because, in my past, right, you'll have a client and they'll ask you for something outside the box of what you do. And inherently as an entrepreneur, you'll be like, oh, I could create a whole nother company around what that one
Right,
question that
which
that
we've done.
person just
Yeah,
asked me to
yeah.
do. And in this game, people want, hey, can you help me with valuation? Hey, can you guys, help structure the deal? Whatever that, they every client has different asks that go beyond just the origination piece that we do. But we've been really focused on being the best that we can at what we do and doing our job, Bill Belichick style, do your job. You're the origination guys. You're the ones that, hey, we tell you what we're looking for, and you're the scout. You go find it. And I think that, you know, who knows where that's going to take us, but I firmly believe that that's been very, you know, it's coincided with our success so far because we
Absolutely.
haven't steered and tried to do a million things at once.
Where do you think this thing is in 10 years?
I, you know, I think it's a great question. I'd love to be, the group that I don't think private equity or that space is obviously going anywhere. I think it's
Yeah.
existed for a long time. I think people are going to continue to raise funds and buy companies, and it might only accelerate. It might just become more and more popular to grow through acquisition, especially with, there's more businesses getting started today than ever before.
Right.
So roll ups and buying businesses is going to be as easy as buying houses one day. But people that are doing that at a massive scale are never going to go anywhere. So I'd like to be, the go to basically origination consultant, and a brand name within that world where people say, "Hey, I just raised a fund, and I'm going to go hire these guys to help make sure that we successfully fulfill that mandate exactly how we intended to." Then at the end of the day, too, like I said at the beginning, I'm really intrigued by that space as well. I've,
Right.
I've had experience, you have too, in selling companies.
Yeah.
Um, Buying them, is a whole different ballpark. But
Right.
we're getting to see firsthand what that looks like and what the strategies of the most successful people who buy these companies employ, or deploy. How they look at certain opportunities, how they look at how to grow those opportunities. So we're getting to see that firsthand from a number of different groups. And I think, we'd be I think 10 years from now, looking back on it, we're gonna have enough knowledge to be able to do it ourselves. So I'd
Yeah.
ideally like to be able to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes too much sense, and we've talked about it a lot. That that's probably the end goal is to become who we work for. You know, but another thing I'm excited about for the future is trying to even out that outbound business versus inbound business. You know,
Right.
and I think we're already starting to see some people knock on the door and say, "Hey, I heard about you guys through someone."
Right.
And another reason that this content is going to become important is we're confident in what we're putting out to the clients. So let's put it out to the world,
Yep.
and use it as that business development arm, but also as a demonstration of we got, there's nothing to hide here. This is what we do. This is who we are. This is why we do it. And I think if we look 2, 5, 7, 10 years ahead, we're going to start to even out. I mean, we do more outbound than most people would probably think we do. We're
Yeah.
we're reaching out to way more people than you'd expect,
Thousands a day.
thousands a day, and it's not a large team. But if we can get that inbound starting to meet that outbound, that's when stuff gets really interesting. That's when you build a brand and not just a business.
Yeah, no, I think that the thousands a day thing, going back to that, like another intriguing thing about what we do here is that we're applying, we're reaching out to people right now while we're talking. Me and you aren't doing it, but
Right,
there's
we're not
there's
doing it. Yeah.
automation going on in the background. It's very structured, fine tuned automation, but it's going on in the background. And we knew that technology existed before we started DealGen. We were doing it for other
Right.
people. I've been doing it for years, with the different companies I've been working on, reaching out to people outbound with, through automation. But we took an existing technology that we believed in and knew that worked, and I think applied it to the wealthiest industry that we could possibly, like, the industry that it could probably benefit the most from doing.
Well, because it's the industry with the best offer, right? So when you're doing cold outbound, which we've seen and sold, when I say sold, I mean we've worked for clients that have sold all kinds of things outbound cold. The best offer in the world is I want to buy your company
Right.
because it puts the most money in someone's pocket and
Right.
it's the best validator that you've built something of value,
Yep.
and I think once we combine that automation with that offering, we got a grand slam here that works,
I
and we
agree.
get a shitload of responses. We get a lot of people interested in talking to us about just that, selling their company, buying a company. It's a conversation that people want to have
Yep.
instead of, hey, I want you to, I want to charge you X for your marketing and we do it better than the next guy. No, we're coming in with a really unique offer,
Right. We
and
want
that's a
to
separator.
we want to talk to you about buying your business.
Right.
We want to talk to you about buying out you out of an investment.
Yeah,
It's a great way to get a response. And people respect it, right? It's like, hey, I'm
absolutely.
I'm not you're not asking me for anything other than, are you for sale? Because I'd love to put some money in your pocket.
Right.
You know.
Right. And
So
that turns into us getting clients. It happened this morning. Had an outbound, hey, we want to buy something from your fund. And the halfway through the conversation, it was, well, we don't really have anything for sale, but can you do this for us? Can you bring us opportunities to our fund that we can acquire? Yeah, sure. So we're never reaching out to someone saying, we want you to hire us. We're
right.
always reaching out saying, we want to put money in your pocket somehow. And it's just been, a response that indicates where if we're patient, there's going to be a hell of a lot to build from this thing.
I
You know?
agree. Why are we talking into microphones right now? What's the point of doing this content?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in your past company, your podcast brought a ton of business opportunities to you, and I think from my standpoint, it's twofold. It's business development first and foremost, right? We want to talk to people and help them get their word out in a way that, selfishly it helps us be by building a rapport with them, but we're not doing it strictly for monetization. We're
Right.
not charging anybody for anything like this. So building that business development and also demonstrating who we are and who our company is in a way that's more than just what's listed on your website or what you can put in a deck or a client referral call. Like, you want to know what we're like, go listen to the 25 hours of podcast that you have, and that'll tell you exactly who we are.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we've been seeing more and more, especially over the time that we've been working together, the different ways that people use content, right? And the different ways that content can help build a brand, whether it's a personal brand or whether it's around your company. I think that we've struggled to find, just because of who we are, the exact right way that we want to put that out to the world. But the interesting thing is like you can do whatever you want, right? And so whatever fits your skill set, I think we both realize like, hey, we're not probably Twitter guys.
Right.
Um, no offense to the Twitter guys at all. It's just not what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
It's not where I want to spend my time, even though I know it can be valuable. But I'd rather do this. I'd rather have a one-on-one conversation. It's a modern day way of taking someone to lunch, even though that would be a better, probably, in person. But hey, if you can't do that because you're
Right.
across the country, well, let's do a podcast and
Yeah.
let's create some content together. And let me cut it up for you and give it back to you, and you can use it for however you want. You know what I mean? Whether you want to show the wife and kids, or you want to put it on your website and have it be a staple and part of your brand. And I think that goes a long way with the guests. Um, and I think at the same time, they offer us a ton of value. And
Yeah.
getting to get 30 minutes to have a genuine conversation with somebody, I think goes a long way. It goes a lot longer than people who aren't doing a podcast version of things see how far it goes. It's in my experience, you're able to, goes back to the offer. You're able to get people who you never thought you could get on the phone, on a call
Yeah.
with you, by having the right offer. Not, hey, can I pick your brain for 20 seconds, or can I tell you how I can help you? No. Why don't you come on your show and tell the world about what you're doing, and how interesting what you're doing is, and I'll give you a platform to do it. People love that,
Yeah.
and they should, because it's a great way to get your story out there. It's a great way to make your own content if you don't always have the time to. So I'm pumped to do it. I'm excited. We're going to be launching the DealGen show in January, which I think 10 years from now I'd like to be doing the DealGen show still. I think that that's something that I want to take a long-term view at this business and the content that we create, and see where it takes us.
Maybe we'll get a sponsor by then.
We might hedge better. You guys taking spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm pumped to roll into the new year, and to see where this thing takes us. It hasn't been super long that we've been doing what we're doing, but it's been the best thing I've ever worked on.
Yeah. And I think you got some guests lined up that people are going to notice.
We certainly do. Yeah, we certainly do. I'm pumped to, I'll wait to reveal those as they come up. But yeah, we have some heavy hitters coming on the show, and I'm excited to see what they have to say.
Sounds good.